A little less than a week ago, I did a lesson on happiness, and I feel like I trusted Allie a lot on like what it means to be, on how to be happy, and I didn't discuss like my opinions on it. But here's what Allie says. He says the happiness of the believer, Mu'min, is on his face, and his sadness is in his heart. His bosom is the most expansive of all else, and his self is more humble than anyone else. He dislikes high rank and hates reputation. His affliction is long lasting. His distress is far reaching. He is silent a great deal and spends much of his time at work. He is thankful, patient, immersed in his contemplation, needing little of easy disposition and with a mild nature. His self is more impervious than a rock, and he is more humble than a slave. Once again, he keeps saying he's humble, he's humble, he's humble. And the reality is, like, you can be attached to the idea that you're awesome. And you can, like, and when I talk about attachment, all the Buddhists go, yeah, that was the most beautiful thing you've ever said. Because, like, they strive to not be attached to things. They don't want to be attached to their car. Like, they know it breaks down. Like, they don't want to be attached to, like, the diet they're eating right now. They might have to start eating cheaper food. They don't want to be attached to, like, everything that they have because because the world has a way of taking things from you. And like, and you end up in a situation where you're going like, I can't freaking play music. Like, I can't believe how frustrated I am right now. Like, trying to find my stuff. Like, I have to believe that people know who I am. Like, and that's the real, like, that's like where like my happiness starts to struggle. Like, where like I get there. It's when like I'm with my probation officer and she's like, well, what evidence do you have that you're famous? Like, how do you know that people know who you are? And I told her, I was like, well, when I was in Santa Barbara, like this random waiter listened to my music, like VNOX 7. And when I was in Nashville, like more than one person knew who I was. And like one person like said that she played along with my music. And like, so like she knew how to play with me because she'd already been playing with my music. And, like, all these, and I posted like 7 Christmas pictures in 2 days. So that's pretty good evidence. But at the same time, like the censorship, like why is it there? Like it like is trying to break me and make me give up on the internet. It's trying to make me give up on my lifestyle. Like I've got to go apply for jobs. Like my probation officer like asked me to like do a certain amount of work for her this week. And that's fine. But like if I'm already famous and like I've already made so much money, but I'm not being allowed to make money. Like, how is this possible? I'm sure people saw my post where I was like, the reason that no one... So, like I've been saying, I have a serious censorship problem. Like, that's why I can't have money. That's why I can't function in my society. That's why I'm going to food banks for food. That's why, like, I don't have gas to go find a job. Like, I've talked about how the censorship, like the goal of the censorship is to discourage me, but I think it's to discourage all of us. It's to get us all to eventually give up because you have to accept that Donald Trump's the president. Like, that's just how it works. Like, we chose him. He won the election. There were like, well, if that's the case, I want to see the actual vote count, please. Like, I want to see all 50 Secretary of States stand up and say, well, actually, we had our people verify the vote count. Because this is, like, I'm talking about the state secretaries of state, the ones that do the votes. I think that's who handles the vote. So, like, they want us to give up. But before, the censorship was about keeping me as a sex slave. Like, I had been sold. Like, someone's going to breed with me. Someone, like, that's a sex trafficker, like, sold me to her clone or might have sold me to her. And like, I have to be controlled until she takes possession of me. Like, they have trained me to appreciate a woman too much. Like, you have no idea how much they have trained me. Like, you're going to appreciate that woman. She does anything and like, she's better than any girlfriend you've had for a very, very long time. And you haven't had a girlfriend since you were a small child. You don't know how hard we worked to keep you from having a girlfriend. Because these people like want to control my life that much. They know I have such a high IQ. They want me to like do what they say because like they've invested a lot of time with me. They need me under control. Like, they need me with my next mom and brother, like who like, oh, we're helping you. We turned on your phone and everything. You're robbed that bad. So you can't play music anymore. Like, they need me with the next person who is someone that's already probably paid for me. And so, like, the reality is that, like, it's very hard to get out of that situation. But what I was talking about was the attachment to the idea that you're awesome. Like, I think a lot of us get attached to the idea that, like, I'm a great salesman. Like, we have things we say about ourselves. Like, I'm a great athlete. I'm very friendly. Everyone likes me. Like, we get attached to the idea that people like us. We get attached to the idea that, like, we're capable of certain things. And so when we can't do it, like, when we fall short, we can't handle it. And I'm someone that always falls short. And, like, I'm someone that, like, ever since I was, like, an 8-year-old kid, I was trying to do, like, 30-year-old person things. So I definitely got over the idea that I'm awesome. Like, I know I'm going to fail. And I think that, like, when you get to the point that you know you're going to fail, it's a problem. Like, you can get trained to be the opposite of the person who's attached to the idea of being successful. Like, you can get trained to assume something bad. So happiness can depend on a lot of factors, right? Like, your old age could make you unhappy because you're in pain and can't afford pain pills. You can't afford to do anything. You can't do anything because you're handicapped. Like, your own actions can cause you to be unhappy. Like Ali says right here, often someone seeks out his own end, which, like, I think is kind of the situation here, like, where, like, everyone's so used to robbing me, and, like, they're so used to taking my stuff because my stuff always gets taken and I don't ever call the cops or anything. Like, I just know I'm going to get robbed. Like, I've called the cops before. Like, if there's anything I know, it's what it's like to call the cops. We don't do that. Like, we don't do fingerprints and stuff like that. So, like, I don't even try, like, especially in Colorado. Like, if I got robbed in Texas, I would actually try. Well, except, like, my family tells me not to call the police. But like, in the situation now with my brother, like, I think that, like, they exacerbated the problem so much by stealing all my music I've written, because I'm Glass Roads and Crystal Streets. Like, I was VNOX 7 before. Like, all those tracks, I can't find them. And I'm sure that, like, I can find them a little bit. But I'm having trouble finding my stickers with the passwords on them, because I always have, like a password on my hard drive. Like, I just leave it on it because I don't really care. I don't want to, like, not be able to get in the hard drive. So, like, in the situation now, like, I feel like people have seen how extreme the behavior of the government is with me, because, like, I'm sitting here catching these sex trafficking girls, like, or these sex trafficking. I'm sitting there, like, trying to find sex trafficking victims all day. That's all I do. And then next thing you know, my phone gets cut off. Like, I get gassed. I get beat up in jail, and, like, all my evidence of sex trafficking disappears, like, because, like, my house gets robbed. And, like, I think that, like, there's a lawyer out there going, no, the evidence is gone. Like, you don't understand. Like, you have to lawyer me. Like, we're in a lawyer battle. And, like, I'm someone who thinks that, like, we're in a public opinion battle, like, where you won't let us talk to one another, where you're censoring that bad, where you are screwing with people's heads, where, like, we're all acting like anybody watches MTV. My friend from FCC, which FCC feels like it was a bunch of kids in college together, like he worked at MTV. And so, like, I mean, I don't know, like, I don't know anything about MTV. Like, I really don't know. I know that the media is censoring that much. And they're telling us that Camila Cabello is good, except for that one song. I mean, maybe she's good. And, like, bad things. And Sabrina Carpenter, I haven't even tried, because, like, I haven't tried. Honestly, I tried one song. I think you have to actually try. And, like, I mean, I think that we don't know what's good, and Sabrina's cute. And let's bring the teaching back to the beginning, where we were talking about how, like, happiness can be our happiness can be too tied to other people's opinions and our opinion of ourselves. And so, like, in Buddhism, they'll talk about anatman, like no self, like, which, like, is, like, where you're, like, you've, like, completely overcome the self, and, like, you're connected to, like, the interconnectedness of, like, everything around us. And like, I think that, like, I probably have become a little attached to myself, but I'm still not, because, like, I'm so trained to, like, assume failure. I'm so trained to, like, assume I'm a piece of crap. Like everyone's always in my ear telling me I'm a piece of crap. Like you don't understand like how many times my brother texted me when I was living in Texas, and it was constantly like you're nothing, you're nothing, you're nothing. Like I think that like I can ignore things, but like it still gets in your head. Like, and I feel like a lot of us have things that we have in our heads that we can't overcome, and that can hurt our ability to be happy. And so like you can be overconfident, and then that can cause you to suffer because you get kicked in the nuts when you find out what like a smart person is. You think you're smart until you find out what a real smart person is. And then you find out that dude is completely on a different level than me. And like that happens, that's been done to me a million times. Like you don't understand like the people I get put in the room with, where it's like, you are that good at computers. Like, whoa, like I think I'm good at computers. You're good. Like, I mean, but like happiness, I think happiness is about being healthy, like that often, like eating healthy, exercising, like taking care of yourself. Like happiness is about the way you interact with people, because you can seek out your own end by the way that you're an asshole, like by the way that you're rude to people. Like in jail, I would never be in the situation now where I can say that I have 100% good time in jail. Like if I had fought all these people that wanted to fight me, like everyone wants to fight me. I don't have to fight them. I don't care how much bigger I am than them. I'm 230 pounds. I'm buff. Like even when I'm not buff, I'm buff. Like I am someone that did not seek out my own end, and that's why like for me when I plead felony, like the jail and the prison people who would decide when I get out, they'd go, okay, like yeah, probation's pretty much over, because I haven't actually committed a crime. Like I've been doing a good job, and so happiness is hard, but like. If you think if you're too if you're too humble, it's bad. If you're too arrogant, it's bad. Like your perspective means that much. Like you're finding a balanced perspective on your like trying to see reality as it actually is important.